Welcome to Heart Speak Podcast, episode 296. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Well, hello there, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this session where we are looking at the power of love, which definitely we need on the planet at this time. At the end of this podcast, I'll offer a short meditation on how to bring more love, more joy into our lives. So be ready for that meditation. We are at an extraordinary time in our history, if you didn't already know. Because of Neptune being in Pisces at 29 degrees at the very end of Pisces, and it's going to be there for some time until January 2026, we are being faced with the extraordinary moments of spiritual awakening, transcendence of our old ways, completion of those old ways, and the ability to dissolve the boundaries that have been created over millennia that tell us that we became separated from love, from God's love, from the divine love, from the great mother's love, whoever it is that you believe exists in the universe, from all love. Let us say it that way. Because love has never left us. We've left love. And because of that, we are facing at this moment our own doubts, our own fears, our own anxieties. And you may have been feeling that. Am I worthy to be loved? Do I deserve this? Are there enemies out there that I have to battle with before I experience the fullness of my beingness, the fullness of loving of myself? And this is the way in which we are going to meet ourselves, which is saying is, love never left us, we left love. We never became separated from the universal love because it's impossible. Because the universe lives within us, we live within the universe. God is within us. We are part of God. We are part of the great mother who birthed us. How could we ever have become separated? But this is the myth that was created. Whether created by us or someone else or some being said, let's create this myth, somehow we became separated. And that word separate was also can be translated as the original sin. The original sin is we forgot that we were loved. And what happened is we became separated, and we then developed fear, that false expectation of an altered reality. We became locked into a reality that is false. And now it's time for that falseness, those myths, those stories, those beliefs to dissolve, to allow us to come back to who we are. Yes, there is indeed, I believe, a time where our soul, as this beautiful sphere of consciousness that lives within a sphere of consciousness that is the universe, etc., did say, hey, let's go and take part in that play. And so what we did, we came into the theatre, we put those clothes on, we became the actor in the play. But we remembered at the end of the play that we could take those clothes off and return home to the soul sphere, the home that awaits us where we are loved. But somehow there came a time when we got more locked into the play, the story, and we forgot to go home. And again, home wasn't somewhere we had to leave and travel to. We just had to remember that it always existed within our hearts. And now our heart is calling us home. Once again, not a place to go to, but to come into. It's always been there for us. Our soul has never left us. Our God has never left us. The universe has never left us. We just forgot to go there. We got so caught up, addicted to the play, that we forgot that all it was a case of dropping those close, dissolving the boundaries, and going back into what we truly are, is all and everything. And that's what our hearts are calling on us now. Come home. Come home. Dissolve those thoughts that developed from separation. Dissolve those thoughts that made us believe that we don't deserve this. And what's helping us is that beyond the fact that Neptune is at the end of Pisces at the moment, it's also been in relationship in what we call a sextile to Pluto, which is the planet of transformation. Now, if you know anything about Pluto in its feminine form, she is the one that says, I hold your gems. You have to come and find me. So Pluto often involves us not escaping out of our bodies, but going deep within our psyche and saying, come and find love. Come and find love. It's here waiting for you. And remember, love is not just a sensation of wonderful emotion. It's a point of connection. Come and connect to yourself through me, says Pluto. So what she's doing is saying, I will help you to dissolve those boundaries, not leave them, not disassociate from the problem. But once you dissolve them and you use the power of Pluto to dissolve those boundaries, you will realize you never left home in the first place. Now, this Neptune-Pluto sextile has been going on since about 1947, after the Second World War, and will continue until 2034. Don't worry, it's not got to all happen like it is now with that intensity until that time. But you may know that after the Second World War, great plans were put in place that we would no longer have war and everybody would come together, a united way of being, and let's talk together. But I think what happened was that we never really got to the bottom of why we ever became separated in the first place. And at the beginning of the time of Jeshua, Jesus, 2,000 years ago, was the beginning of the age of Pisces. And that was a time where we were supposed to come together. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Do unto others, you do unto yourself. It was like, okay, let's do this. And all that happened, we became separated. We went to war against people who were different. So here we are, not quite in the age of Aquarius, but here we are with Neptune at the end of Pisces. It's like, come on, we can do this. We can do this. Instead of fighting each other, what is it that makes us fight each other? It's a belief that we are separate. It's a belief we've been told that people who aren't like us, we need to reject, judge. And yet, once those boundaries drop, we realize we are all the same. We all belong to that same God, that same universe, that same great mother. There is no reason for me to fight you because you are another one of me. And I listened to Darryl Anker, who channels Bashar, and he was asked, well, do you as a evolved form that is, hundreds of years beyond our time now, do you have the dark and light within you? What I was talking about last time. And he said, yes, we do. We have the dark and light, but he says, none of us would ever want to do anything from the dark side, the side that causes separation and hatred. Why would we want to do that? Because we so love the experience of coming together. Why would we want to do that? And I think that's where we're at now in our history, in our time. Neptune is saying, why would you ever believe not only that you weren't loved, not only that you weren't connected, but that you're all one in the true sense, all beloved children of the universe. And when we feel full of that love, feel full of that connection, there's no way we would want to do anything else but find more ways to have that experience. You know, they've looked at cells in a petri dish, and it's so true to say that there's no cell that moves towards something that is more painful. There's no cell that says, wow, bring it on, except for humans. And we do that because there's a feeling that we don't deserve love, or we've somehow been told that we are victims of life, or things are going to happen to us that it's because we're not good people. All of this is just manipulation, mind games. None of it's true. We have to reject that has kept us small, that's kept us away from this beautiful energy of connection, of love, of joy. And we don't need to go to therapy to do this. We just have to say, I'm not accepting this anymore. Now, yes, we have to recognize that it's not our mind that we can always work with, but sometimes we have to live as if we don't accept it. We live as if this is our heart's desire, to find that connection. And to find that connection feels just so glorious, so wonderful, that we wouldn't want to do anything else. So I'm going to just move that word love to enjoyment. It's like, why would I not want to be enjoying what I'm doing? Why would I do something that I don't enjoy? Why would I do something that is not bringing me more joy? So it doesn't mean not doing, it means, is what I'm doing filling me with a sense of connection to my true self, a connection to coming home? Is what I'm doing bringing me home? Oh my goodness, when I do this, I feel more connected to the divine, to myself, to my soul. Why wouldn't I want to do more of that? Sometimes we have to, in this physical world, do it in a more physical way. It might be okay for me to look out at my garden and say, wow, it's a beautiful garden. But maybe when I've got my hands in the soil, or I'm smelling those roses, or I'm talking to the birds, maybe it brings me more joy than just thinking about it. So what is it that's going to bring you more joy? Maybe it is knocking on someone's door who you've often had a bad time with and saying, how do we have a better experience? How do we bring more joy to each other's life rather than live in this fear or destructive way? Because nothing's worth it. There's no purpose in the other. As Bashar said, there's no purpose in living in ways which hurt others. It just hurts us. Now, at this time, not only have we got this Neptune, Pluto sextile going on, we've also got Mercury meeting up with Uranus in Taurus on the 31st of May. And this could bring new ways of looking at wars, making new solutions. Not just about power, who's going to hold the power? How do we bring the power of joy and love back to everybody? Not just a few. So I'm suggesting to you that as we move through this Neptune Pisces time, we are facing some of the challenges that we hold in our hearts, or maybe not in our hearts, in our minds, about why we shouldn't connect, why we shouldn't feel joy, why we shouldn't feel love. So what I'm watching is lots of stories coming out, even from times that are very ancient, other planets, other galaxies, about wars and about pain and about suffering. And you might remember those times in your own past lives or with family members, and you're saying, yes, I need to remember that. Well, you don't. You just need to remind yourself if this was another time of separation. This was another moment where my ancestor or I have picked up that message about being separate. Like, how many times do we need to hear that? What are we actually feeling like? But yes, I could tell you 10 past lives where I've felt abandoned, rejected, etc., etc. But what are the lives I remember when I felt such joy, such connection? And they're not, you don't have to go and have therapy on this. You just have to look out at something beautiful in your own world. Maybe it's a sunrise, maybe it's a rainbow, maybe it's your children, and realize, wow, that sense of connection is still here and now, despite whatever else is going on. And remember, it's not about denying what's going on in the world, but if we want to change the world, we have to change the energy we're putting into that world. And that starts with finding that joy and that love within yourself. So before we move into the meditation, I want to read one of my favorite poems from David Whyte. Some of you may know his work, who is so able to put into words some very deep feelings that I always feel is so true about love. In fact, this poem is called True Love. And he's speaking of a time when he's watching an old man on a quay and wondering what he's thinking. And he's thinking of the time where Jesus was walking on water and that his disciples woke up and saw him in the distance standing on water. They were in the boat. And he's calling to them, step out of the boat, follow me, trust me. And we've all had those times where someone says, come on, you can do this. And you go into your beliefs and say, yes, but it's not for me. Oh, you don't really love me. I don't deserve love, whatever the words are. And that unfaltering, unconditional love is saying, yes, I hear all of that and I still love you. And I still want you to walk towards me because I want you to come home to my heart, come home to your heart, connect with me. And as David Whyte says, there's a time where you might not have a sudden awakening like the disciples did and seeing this figure. It might have been much longer, over years, where you just keep reminding yourself, there's something more I want to do. There's something deeper I want to connect to. And that's the awakening that's happening now. We're all awakening to something deep within our hearts that says, this isn't a reality. I'm in a play. It's time to go home. It's time to return to the deep heart, the knowledge that I never left home in the first place. And as David Whyte writes, he says, there's a point where we finally step out of the boat and we think we're going to drown, but we don't. Everything holds us. Everything's there for us. We can walk on water because we trust the love that's in our hearts, the universal love, the divine, the God within our hearts. And you can't drown because it's not possible, because there was never a drowning you could have done. You've been drowning in a play for so long. Now you're coming to true reality. And you realize that whatever happens, you're fed up with the struggling. You're fed up with not being enough, not being able to find that love within you, to being lonely, to being rejected. You're just fed up with those stories. And he said, you're simply too much. You're simply tired of worrying about drowning. And you want to live and you want to love, and you walk across any territory, any darkness, however fluid and however dangerous, to take that one hand that belongs to yours. It's time to come home, my friends. Not about leaving, but loving, coming into, going deep within, finding yourself. To say, today, I commit to joy in my life. Today, I commit to being connected fully to my soul. to the universe, to the love that is mine. And so I ask you, if you're in a right place to do this, if not, wait until you are, close your eyes. Taking a few long breaths, short breath in, long out breath, breathing out all the thoughts that perhaps have been going around your mind as I've spoken. It's time to come home. Come into the body. Come into the heart. Go deep within your heart. Imagining your heart as a beautiful chalice. A chalice that may already be full, but is also waiting for more love, more connection. We're going to do this through the experience of joy, because joy is the one emotion that is found in every human, whatever their experiences are. And your joy may come from being with loved ones, being in a beautiful place in nature, seeing a sunrise or seeing a rainbow, being with your pets. So as you settle into your deep heart, see yourself in a place, a memory of joy, where you didn't have to do anything. You just had to experience opening your heart to the love. Wherever you are, can you feel maybe the sun or the wind on your face or the ground under you? Can you hear the sounds of nature around you, or maybe the sounds of laughter, but something that just fills you with the joy of connection? Maybe there are aromas connected to this memory. Maybe there are tastes. Look around you. What are the colors that are enriching this moment of joy? Feel the joy. Bring it into your heart, into this chalice. No thinking, just a sense of, I am filling myself with this joy. I am the joy I am enjoying. I deserve this joy. This is mine. And I don't have to do anything to get it. And as your chalice fills, and if the memory starts to fade, just go back to the memory. Remember the laughter or the sounds or the sights or the feelings. Bring that joy into you, into your heart. And as the chalice overflows with joy, let that joy go into every cell of your body, every nucleus, every piece of your DNA. Wake it up to, yes, this is what I want in my life. This is when I feel whole. Let every cell feel that joy, especially ones that may have forgotten it. Feel a little separate. Let that joy spread out now into your aura, into your energy fields. Readjusting those energies that had memories of separation, of lack of joy. Flood those areas, your mental body, your emotional body. Reconnect to your soul. Reconnect to the love. And without any effort, no sending, no bringing, just connect to something in your own life that has that joy. Maybe it is a pet, maybe it's a loved one. Just imagine them in front of you now. they too are experiencing that joy. And as you allow your aura to spread into that world, you feel them connect to you in a profound soul way. We create this beautiful shape of the Vesica Pisces where magic happens, a place where love comes together. And we realize we've never been disconnected. And just imagine now being close to someone who perhaps you're having trouble with, or some part of your own body, or maybe something in your life, some event. And rather than sending love, be the joy. Just imagine being with this person in this state of joy, this state of collective consciousness, this state of unity consciousness, and saying to them, is it worth holding on to the separation, your sense of who you are? Do you want to join me in this joy? Are you ready to walk across the water towards joy, towards connection, to divine love? And we can feel that towards countries, towards people that may be on the other side of the world. No sending love, no doing anything. Just be the joy, be the connection. Because there is nothing on this planet that doesn't want to be part of this. There's nothing on this planet that isn't fed up with the struggle and the fear and the anxiety, that doesn't want to turn towards this joy. That is not a new experience, but is an eternal experience of love, of connection. Let us find that there are no boundaries. There is no difference between us when we come to this level. Anything that tells us differently is so small and insignificant when marinated in this beautiful love. Now to gently draw that energy of love, that energy of connection back into your own aura, bringing with it the enrichment of these experiences. Bring it back into your body. Bring it back into your heart, enriched by that experience. And as you slowly bring your awareness back to the room where you are, remember that if you wish to bring those changes to the world that you want, not just that you want for other people, but you want, it's a simple method to just drop into this memory, drop into your deep heart, fill your chalice, let it flow out, and let every interaction be one of joy, connection, love. Because that's where we are now. That is our future. And that is what these times mean to us. Coming home to our heart. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Heart Speak podcast with Dr. Christine Page. Please check out all Heart Speak episodes in the podcast archive section on www.christinepage.com. HeartSpeak is also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Tumblr, and now playing on Amazon Music and iHeart Radio. You can also watch the archive podcast on Christine's channel, on YouTube, and now on Rumble. Connect with Christine on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook group, The Great Mother Calling. Do share with family, friends, colleagues. Join us next time for another edition of HeartSpeak.